So welcome ladies and gentlemen, and it's finally here, the IS-3 Defender. This tank is basically an IS-3, but it does have one very special feature that the normal IS-3 does not. This tank has a 3-round autoloader. You can see the 3-clip magazine on my screen, and even though it is an autoloader, it kind of doesn't play 100% like an autoloader because the shells have quite a bit of delay. There is 7.5 seconds between each shot, and that does mean that you can't do the huge burst damage that you can in, for example, a Chiri or a Lux or a similar tank. Nevertheless, it is a very unique tank, and it is quite fun to play, to be honest. So I've been playing this tank roughly 30 games and had some pretty good ones as well. And I really think that this tank is going to be worth pushing for. Maybe not paying the 15,000 gold that the tank costs initially, but I think if you could get it down to around 7,000-8,000 gold, and I don't feel sure if you can get the mission done, then it's certainly worth considering if you should gold the rest of this tank. You can see I'm in a pretty strong position here, hold down, and that is one key feature of this tank that I will show you a bit more about after this first replay. That is the very strong turret armor, because that is not only a feature on the regular IS-3, but also on the IS-3 Defender. This tank is available in a limited package of 60,000 tanks across all regions. If you want to get one of these tanks, you will need to complete 8 missions of a total of 705,000 experience. If you do manage to complete those 7 missions before I think it's the 10th of March or the 7th of March, you will be awarded with this tank, and I think it could be worth the wait and worth the trouble. Another key feature about this mission compared to the Tankenstein mission is that in this tank you're not only grinding experience, you are grinding tokens. So every single experience point counts as 1 token. Additionally, the missions that you get updated twice a day, you have 3 personal missions. They will give you a specific amount of tokens depending on how much or the difficulty of the mission. So for instance, earlier today on my normal account, and I didn't say that, but I'm playing on my contributor account, and on my regular account I finished a mission where I had to get an ace badge on a tier 8 tank, and I did it in my Indian Panzer, and it gave me an additional 8,000 tokens. So considering you might be able to get tokens of or missions that give you an individual token reward of 4,000, 5,000 tokens per mission, that means that if you complete all 6 missions every day, that will give you roughly 30,000 extra tokens. And that means that you can shimmy down the time you have to spend grinding experience and driving the individual tanks substantially. So if you are considering doing this mission, I really recommend to you to go all in and complete the missions, get the extra token points that you can, and also make sure that that you are playing as high a tier as possible, not only to maximize the experience you earn, but also to make sure that you get the high mission rewards in points of token. So I think that's going to be the way to make sure that you can get this tank and enjoy the benefits. What I just did here against this Panther II, that is not something that is very normal in this tank. The accuracy is abysmal. I will show you after this game. I will show you a quick table where I compare it to the IS-6 and the regular IS-3. So the game's over. It was a pretty solid win in a tier 9 match, and you can see the credit potential of this tank. The credit earning potential is not bad. I made 92,000 credits, which is very much for 3,400 damage. I didn't take that much damage in return, and that certainly helped. But here is the table. So you can see the IS-3 Defender, it has the highest hit point pool of these 3 tanks, 1,550 compared to the 1,500 and this 1,470 of the IS-6. The turret armor is very strong frontally, as well as is the IS-3 and IS-6. The whole armor is basically the same all around. The DPM is lower on the IS-3 Defender, and that's simply because I have selected to use this tank or to view the DPM of the IS-3 and the IS-6, including a gun rammer, because this tank is not, the IS-3 Defender is not capable of mounting a gun rammer because it's an autoloader, and that really that's a very, very big difference. Another key difference is that the APCR comes equipped with standard APCR as its regular ammunition. This compared to the IS-3 and the IS-6, which have AP as the regular ammunition. So the key advantage of APCR compared to AP is that APCR has a much higher shell velocity. That means the shells fly faster, you don't have to give as much lead when you're shooting over a distance, which does come in handy since this tank has abysmal accuracy. You can see the standard penetration is very unlike a normal premium tank. The premium tanks in the game, they often have low penetration, such as the IS-6, but the IS-3 Defender has 221 penetration on its regular APCR ammunition, which is very, very good. The gold penetration is 270 with heat, and heat has an additional bonus, which is that the normalization is better than on AP and on APCR. You can see the dispersion values, they're terrible across the line because these are Soviet heavy tanks, but the IS-3 Defender squeezes in the middle here with 0.43 compared to 0.4 and 0.46 for the IS-6. The aim time is the same across the board, 3.4 seconds. Another key difference is the IS-3 Defender, it does not have preferential matchmaking, so you will run into Tier 10 tanks, and Tier 10 games are very, very difficult. You will see that in the next replay. The specific power ratio of the IS-3 Defender is the worst of these three, but if you can judge by yourself, but I don't think the mobility is bad. It's not as good as the regular IS-3, but it's certainly not bad. Much better than the Tankenstein was, which was just very, very sluggish, very, very slow. So let's jump into a Tier 10 game and see how this tank performs against the highest tier in the game. So, this map, I'm on Desert Sands, and I am platooned with Danny, my good, valiant buddy. And hi Danny, thank you again for helping me with this video. And we are on Desert Sands, and we have some heavy Soviet top tier tanks who decide to go to the city. And of course, I don't want to abandon them, and I want to give some support, but I don't want to do it from the front. I want to be a bit sneaky and maybe try to use a bit of a different position than I normally would if I was top or middle tier. So you can see I'm pushing down the middle here, and already there's quite a lot of enemies, and I don't want to move too far ahead because I don't want to get caught out. I can see that our mediums, they're going through the desert without meeting anyone, so that means that where I am is where the action is going to be. So we spot a Panther 2. He spots us, unfortunately. I would have wished he hadn't spotted me so I could stay concealed just a bit longer time. But unfortunately I don't manage to do so, and an E-75 comes around. You can see the E-75, he did not penetrate me. I penetrated him. The great penetration on the regular ammunition is enough to go through at least the side, even though it was slightly angled, of an E-75. So you can see the E-75, he's pushing me now, and I decide to do a reload whilst I know he's gonna come. So because I reload, I have the option that if I penetrate him with all 3 shells, I will kill him. He will only have time to give me 1 shell, and luckily he bounces it. But Danny, he's here to help me, and let's just we decide to quickly finish off this E-75 who rushes me. Look at the reload, still waiting. I go for the sides of the turret, and I do manage to take him out. One thing you will notice throughout all the replays that I'm going to show you today is that this gun, it doesn't work to do snapshots with. It's just too unreliable. Even though I did do a nice shot into the IS-7 here, it's very rarely the case that you're able to penetrate those shots, because it's just, yeah, the accuracy just isn't good enough. But you could see I managed to land a 200-meter shot on the VK4502A, and it looks like we're cleaning up pretty effectively. I think this was the right decision for me to support my top tier heavy tanks, try to play a bit defensively by using some less popular positions, if you could put it that way. So here comes the IS-7. He's attacking me. I shoot him with heat. I want to go for his lower plate. I'm gonna have a very hard time penetrating him from the front, and I do manage to penetrate him with the 270 millimeters of basic gold penetration, which is very, very good. He's gonna try to ram me and keep me in position here. I shoot again. I know that in this kind of a duel I don't have a chance. So I just decide to, okay, let's just move out of the way so someone else can finish him off. I know that Danny, he has an excellent rate of fire, excellent reload, and he also has a similar good premium ammunition penetration. So the object, he's gonna be finished off in a second, and I don't know what you guys think about it, but I don't think this tank, it performs okay under these kind of circumstances. Even though it's bottom tier, you don't feel like you can't have an impact, and that's pretty much because of the gold ammunition. With 270 millimeters of penetration, you have enough to go through anything that you're gonna meet. So anyway, off to the next game, which is on Castilla, and this is going to be the final commented replay of this video. After this game, there's going to be 2 more additional replays, but I'm not going to be doing any commentary. They're just going to be for you to watch back and see how you think the tank performs. If you think it does perform well, you can consider using some of the options that I mentioned earlier. Using the missions to gain the additional tokens, also using high tier tanks to gain the extra XP that you need compared to driving lower tier tanks, and those 2 combined should enable you to at least get to stage 6, 7 or 8, and you might only have to shed out 4,500, maybe 8,000 gold, something like that, which is basically what I think this tank is worth. It's If this tank was to be sold as a regular tank, I would say a fair price of it would be approximately the same as the IS-6. The IS-6, it does feel a bit more compact and a bit more sturdy. You feel more comfortable driving it, and that's also because the armor on the IS-6 is just much more well sloped. As you can maybe see during some of the replays, the armor on this tank, it's not that well sloped frontally, so that does mean that unless you can hide your hull, you're gonna have a very, very hard time bouncing enemies. Nevertheless, we've pushed quite aggressively here, and we've unfortunately stretched our lines to the extreme. That means that we're gonna have a very, very tough time beating a lot of medium tanks. You can see our team is scattered across the map, which just makes it very, very difficult for us to do anything effectively. So I do decide to push forward. I need to go up close the distance. I'm no good in a long range fight against an RU-251 with a much better rate of fire than me and much higher DPM. So I decide to push forward, make sure I can get into some close quarter combat with these guys, and let my gun do the work. You can see I aim for a long time with this tank, and if I had been in a Tiger 2 or similar, I probably would have done a lot more snapshotting, but I've played roughly 30 games in this tank, and I just feel that snapshotting, it just doesn't work, at least not for me. It might work for some people, but it does not work for me. So you can see the autoloader, it's not 100% like the Chiri, for example, because the rate of fire is very, very slow, and that really that means that it's you can't engage as aggressively as you typically would in an autoloader, especially since the reload, if you don't penetrate all your shots and kill the enemy that you're fighting, you're gonna have 25 seconds of being completely exposed to what the enemy has to do. You can see this Centurion. He has very good penetration, but he's not in a great position to shoot me. But nevertheless, he manages to penetrate his shots. Unfortunately, our Panther, I don't know what he was doing. He decided to shoot the rocks, and this game, you can see it's not looking great. We're gonna run into a pretty nasty defeat here. We have an IS-3 coming up behind us. I'm on a reload. I have 15 seconds to go, and I'm really not gonna be able to carry this game. If you end up in a situation against multiple enemies yourself, you really need to make sure that you time your reloads very, very well. If you don't do that, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick preview of this tank. I think it's definitely worth getting. Not if you have to pay 15,000 gold for it, but if you do manage to get to stage 7 or 8, I would definitely recommend using the gold to get this tank. So I hope you enjoyed the final 2 games, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a nice day, guys.
Let's go!